Welcome to episode 61 of Shane Talks 99, the final episode, the last one. I've stretched this out, well, for two episodes after we finished talking about 1999, talked about 2000, and now here we are, episode 61. There's one last thing for us to talk about in 1999, and that is the films that won the Academy Awards. So it is now March 26th of 2000. And this is a day that I remember really well. And I'm going to give you a little history about the day and about what was going on in my life at this point. This was about a month before the Oscars, and it's in February of 2000. Jason and I held auditions for our first film, which was called Consternate. Throughout the casting process, we ended up casting a girl named Annette in the film. She ended up being cast as my girlfriend in the film. So once we cast her, Annette and I started hanging out and spending a lot of time together, going over the script. And she was very blunt and straightforward with me about how terrible parts of the script were, specifically my female written dialogue. As being my first thing that I ever wrote, like I can admit it wasn't the greatest thing I've ever written by far. And yeah, okay, so my female dialogue was pretty bad. So at this time, Annette and I are hanging out. We're going over the script together. She's giving me feedback about how, women actually talk, which was a huge help. But so we're going through all of that. So we're spending a lot of time together. We're rewriting the script together. We're working on everything together, developing, a bond for our characters in the film, kind of starting a deep quasi friendship relationship. Something was going on between us at that point, but like also at this period in time, Jason and I were in a film studies class at IUPUI. We had this super cool professor. His name was Kevin Sandler, and Mr. Sandler was like he was just like super cool. Like I enjoyed being a part of his class. He wasn't that much older than us, I don't think. Maybe like 10 years older than us or something like that. But like I was very heavily involved in this film studies class. Jason and I sat in the front row. I was very loud, very talkative, very, kind of what my personality is now. I have opinions, and I love talking about films. So just getting to have that experience in this film studies class and having a cool teacher like Mr. Sandler, like I would often like find myself, I would like go and hang out with him in his office, like during office hours and stuff like that, just to talk movies and to talk film and to talk about like the movies we watched in class that week and how they relate to other movies that I really like. Like the easy way to put it is I was seriously like a teacher's pet in this class. Like Mr. Sandler and I got along really good. He was super cool, super friendly. He actually has a cameo in Consternate also. We, cast him in one of the scenes where he just comes on, has like two lines, and then takes off. Um, but so this year specifically, with how cool and close Mr. Sandler and I were, is he invited me to come to an Oscars party that he was having. And I'm like, cool. Like again, I'm a teacher's pet, like, and I like talking movies and film and stuff like that. So the fact that he was having a party, my first ever Oscars party that I've ever like got invited to or knew anything about, like growing up, I watched the Oscars, but it was more just like me sitting at home, kind of what I do now, just like watching the Oscars to just enjoy the experience of it being live and what's going on and stuff like that. So getting invited to this Oscars party by a teacher that I really looked up to and really like enjoyed talking to and spending time with was cool. So I obviously committed to going. I'll be there. And so that day, March 26th of 2000, 25 years ago, I'm hanging out at Annette's house that afternoon. We're going over Consternate stuff. And like, I eventually convinced her, you should go to this Oscar party with me tonight. Like, we should go do this together. And like, it was on a Sunday night. The Oscars on a Sunday night. So it took some convincing to get her dad to agree to let her go out, which ended up being a terrible idea anyway, because like, the Oscars were like 4 hours and like 15 minutes longer. Like it was over 4 hours long. It was definitely well after midnight by the time I got her home because we had to go downtown for this thing. So like definitely her dad probably regretted that looking back on it, but she was a senior in high school. It was a school night, it is, whatever, I don't know. But anyway, we go down to this adult party downtown. We go to Professor Sandler's house. I meet his girlfriend for the first time. I meet a bunch of his friends. It's all super cool. There's like probably like 10, 12 of us hanging out that night. But it was like the first like adult party I'd ever been to. Like, I mean, I obviously had older friends and like friends with older brothers and whatnot. So I'd been to like some parties with people like maybe like 2 or 3 years older than me or whatnot. But like this was, in my early 20s, somebody that was in his 30s hosting an adult party. It wasn't a bunch of people getting wild and crazy or anything. I do think I snuck a beer that night. I do know that like I don't know. It was one of those like it was cool. Like it was just cool hanging out with like these chill people. Um, I know that I excused myself to go out to the car at one point that night just because I was unfortunately doing things at that point in my life that I shouldn't have been doing and that I now regret doing because like my memory's a little fuzzy for the rest of the night. But I just remember it was really a cool experience being around like older people who also loved and cared about movies and just like I remember Mr. Sandler handing out Oscar ballots, and like we all got to like pick who we thought was gonna win. Like I'd never done that before. Like I said, I always just watched it by myself and enjoyed seeing, Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie or whoever, was on, the red carpet and like never experienced it as like a communal thing where like we all filled out ballots and then we all compared them as the night went on, who got which things right, who by the end of the night had the most correct answers, so like who they predicted was going to win this. And like that stuck with me for years, like literally for years. Like I would end up hosting an Oscars party every year for like 5 or 6 years in a row that went on. Like when I was working when I was living in on the south side of Indy and working at a movie theater on the south side, like I started inviting my coworkers over and I invited my friends over and I would hand out ballots to them. And like, Jason came to a couple of these parties and whatnot. Like one year I bought this huge book that was like, I think it was called 1,000 Films to Watch Before You Die. And it was this huge hardback book. I actually ended up buying two of them because I wanted a copy for myself. But that was going to be like the prize. Well, it was the prize for the person who ended up winning that year. And my buddy Dave Sibley won the book. And like so for years we would, while we were coworkers or even after being coworkers and whatnot, we would talk about this book. And he'd be like, "Hey, like number blah blah blah, I checked it off my list today because I watched it or whatever." So it was just kind of cool that like I don't know, like it was just cool. And then like it transformed once Jason and I started working together at Glendale as like a staff incentive thing to just like not really be competitive, but to have something, like everybody has March Madness brackets at work so that they can talk about it. Like that's what we did at work was we did these Oscar ballots every year so that our staff could talk about who knew film best and who and like I mean I still have friends that on Facebook post their bracket, not brackets, ballots, and like the things that they do as far as the Oscars go. And like I just love the fact that there are people who love film that treat film that way. And so like the Oscars have always been like this huge thing for me because of these experiences that I had and like the groups of people that I used to watch it with and things like that. So like it was just cool. The Oscars have always like just been special to me because of that. So like, all right, let's get back to 2000. We're back to 2000. Sitting in Kevin Sandler's apartment with a net with a group of people. Billy Crystal comes on, does the opening monologue, and yeah, the opening monologue that is the beginning of this 4+ hour epic night. We're gonna start going through here, and like I'm not gonna go through every category, but I'm gonna go through kind of the big ones. I'm gonna go probably like through the eight biggest categories from that night, and what won, or well, everything that was nominated, and then what won, and whether I thought it should win, and we'll kind of just go over that, like I said, for the big eight categories. So like, let's start with best adapted screenplay. Nominees were Cider House Rules, Election, The Green Mile, The Insider, and The Talented Mr. Ripley, which Cider House Rules ended up winning. I really was pulling for Talented Mr. Ripley out of all those things that were on. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like Election was a great movie. I I was Alexander Payne is like a really cool director and whatnot, but like as much as I enjoy the movie Election, like to me at that time, and like even today, I don't know if I necessarily would consider that like an Oscar worthy, like an Oscar winning, like adapted screenplay. Like it was fine, it was funny. I liked it for the most part. I liked it a lot more on my rewatch that I did last year. But The Talented Mr. Ripley is just such a well done like story. And like rewatching it a couple of months ago for the podcast, like it still holds up. I still really enjoy a lot of the stuff and how it plays out and everything. Nothing against Cider House Rules. Like I said on the episode about that, like it's still a very good and enjoyable movie. it just out of these five that were nominated, I was pulling for The Talented Mr. Ripley. I think it's probably the best out of those five. On to Best Original Screenplay, we had Being John Malkovich, Magnolia, The Sixth Sense. All three of those are solid options. I like all three of them. Topsy Turvy, didn't really care about it. Don't even think I did an episode on Topsy Turvy. I don't remember talking about that movie. I don't even remember when it came out this year. So yeah, Topsy Turvy. But the winner and what I wanted to win was American Beauty. And that's going to be a running motif for most of this episode. There's a lot of stuff that I wanted American Beauty to win, and American Beauty won a lot. So just prepare yourself for the next couple of categories. Next up is Best Supporting Actress. Toni Collette for The Sixth Sense was amazing. Catherine Keener for Being John Malkovich, also amazing. Samantha Morton, I've made it clear I don't like the sweet and lowdown. Chloe Savini, I don't really care about Boys Don't Cry. It just at that point in life, it wasn't something that appealed to me watching. So like those two, I didn't wasn't pulling for. Would have been happy with either of those two, Toni Collette or Catherine Keener, but I am beyond excited and happy that Angelina Jolie won for Girl Interrupted because number one, obviously I've got a huge crush on Angelina Jolie, or at least I did back then. And like she's just amazing in that movie. And if you listen to that episode, I praise her for like 5 straight minutes and her role and her character and what she did in that film because I really just think that Lisa really one of the best, like most appealing female characters that I've ever seen on screen. In the top 10 at least. Like she's very interesting and engaging and just doesn't care what anybody thinks about her, wants to do whatever she wants. And I mean, to a fault, yes, but I mean, it is what it is. I 100% support Angelina Jolie winning in this category because I was a huge fan of this role. All right, so Best Supporting Actor. The winner was Michael Caine for The Cider House Rules. And like I just said, I have nothing against The Cider House Rules as a movie. I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's well done. I think it's well executed. I think the acting in it is great. So like I can't be mad about Michael Caine. But there are a number of other people that I would have rather have win this. Pretty much any of the other four in this category. Michael Clark Duncan for The Green Mile was amazing. Jude Law in The Talented Mr. Ripley. I just explained how much I enjoy that film. Tom Cruise in Magnolia was phenomenal. Tom Cruise knocked it out of the park in Magnolia, and I 100% would have been fine with him winning this category. But if I had to pick one that I really wished won the category, it would have been Haley Joel Osment for The Sixth Sense. Like, I just thought that Haley Joel Osment did really, really well. And again, like I love Tom Cruise also. Would have been fine if either of these two won it. Kind of just pulled a little bit more for Haley just because like being 11 years old and like carrying the movie the way that he did, I thought he did an absolutely amazing job. So these first four categories, you know, I've liked most of the stuff and whatnot, but these last four categories, I completely agree with all four of them. Is going to kind of be a clean sweep. If you can't figure out what's coming, prepare yourself. This is where it's going. Best actress, the losers or the non-winners, however you want to word it. Hilary Swank for Boys Don't Cry, which again, not a bad movie, just not one that appealed to me. Janet McTeer for Tumbleweeds. I don't even know what Tumbleweeds is. Guarantee I didn't do a podcast episode on it. Not sure it obviously was an art house film that I missed and even missed it in my rewatch putting together. Julianne Moore in The End of the Affair, again, fine movie, but not an amazing performance in my opinion. Meryl Streep in Music of the Heart. I guess Music of the Heart needed to get some love thrown at it, but like nothing stood out to me about her character in that movie. Annette Bening in American Beauty, hands down, easy, perfect. She is absolutely amazing in that film. I mean, the suburban housewife who is unhappy, who is looking for happiness elsewhere outside of her marriage. Now, while I don't condone things like that, it definitely is a very relatable character. And, you know, the dichotomy of the things that she goes through throughout the course of the film, dealing with her affair and dealing with her husband, very well done. Annette Bening nailed it. Specifically, the scene where she cleans the house just is absolutely amazing. Fully supporting Annette Bening winning Best Actress. Let's pair that with her husband in the Best Actor category. Kevin Spacey won. I fully support that. Very happy about that. Lester Burnham is just he's amazing. Like we got Lester Burnham and we got Tyler Durden slash whatever I why am I drawing a blank on the alter ego of Tyler Durden's character. We got both of these characters in the same year of characters that just don't give a crap about what anybody thinks about them. Like Kevin Spacey's character, Lester, hits a point in his life where he is so depressed and so unhappy with his marriage that I mean, essentially makes himself a better person by eating better and working out and like, well, I mean, he starts smoking weed, just completely reimagines himself. Essentially, a huge midlife crisis goes on because he's just so unhappy in his marriage. And it's so enjoyable to watch that transformation. Now, granted, it goes a little dark, and I know a lot of people have a lot of issues with some of the things, especially now that a lot of things have come out about Kevin Spacey, but it is what it is. I have to separate the art from the actor. And Lester Burnham is just an absolutely amazing character that I'm so happy Kevin Spacey won Best Actor for. He was up against Russell Crowe in The Insider. Don't really care about The Insider. Richard Farnsworth in A Straight Story. I'd be fine if he had won it. Like A Straight Story, specifically liked it then, like it even more now. He would have been an amazing winner. Sean Penn for The Sweet and Lowdown. I've said it multiple times. I am not a fan of The Sweet and Lowdown. And then Denzel Washington for The Hurricane. Like, I feel like that's just like, oh, Denzel was in a movie this year. We've got to nominate him. It is a biopic. Like, it's what the Oscars like. It is what it is. Hurricane's fine. But very happy that Kevin Spacey won the Best Actor category. Let's now move on to the Best Director category. The not winners were Lasse Hallström for Cider House Rules, fine movie. Spike Jonze for Being John Malkovich, fine movie. Michael Mann, great director. As I've said, don't care about The Insider, another biopic that I didn't really care about. And Shyamalan got nominated for The Sixth Sense. Cool. Would have been fine if he won that. I think The Sixth Sense is an absolutely amazing movie, but The Sixth Sense isn't the kind of movie that wins Oscars. The same reason why The Substance didn't win this year. Oscars just don't vibe with and they're not even like horror elements, it's just like not mainstream elements. So Sam Mendes did win for American Beauty, which again, fully support. American Beauty was like, and that's the thing, like I say it's probably my favorite film of the year, but that's coming from a like Oscar viewpoint of the movies, because there are movies that I liked more from 1999, but like it's like I don't know. I guess I was kind of obsessed with it in 1999. Looking back, like the longevity of like I don't watch American Beauty 10 times a year like I do some other movies from 1999, but I still am very happy with American Beauty and all of the winnings that it has done. It also won Best Picture this year. So yeah, it not that it swept every category, but Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress. It nailed the top four. American Beauty won all of those, and it deserved them in my opinion. Because like I said, I really think it is very great. Uh, Before I get into praising that movie, let's talk about Cider House Rules was also up for Best Picture. Green Mile was up for Best Picture. The Insider was up for Best Picture, and The Sixth Sense was up for Best Picture. So essentially the same almost the same things as whoever was nominated for director. They left out Spike Jonze and they put in The Green Mile instead of Being John Malkovich. So, and this was back when there was only films nominated for Best Picture. It made it a lot easier to see all five of those when it was five fairly mainstream movies that were being nominated and not 10 movies that are on 10 different streaming services, half of which never made it to a theater in the United States. The state of cinema right now, especially for Hollywood or for Academy Award stuff, is very difficult and frustrating. Um, but yeah, that's a completely other topic to talk about. So like, if you watched my American Beauty episode of Shane Talks 99, like you know how much I loved that film and how happy I was that it won all these awards, and that like watching it 25 years later really made me realize how powerful that film is. Like in the same way, and I use this analogy in that episode, the same way that Love Actually is about a bunch of different people looking for love in different forms. Like American Beauty is about people looking for happiness in different forms. It's a depressing movie. It's about people who are very depressed, who are very unhappy with their lives, and it follows how they try to find happiness, whether it be in a relationship or whether it be in anything else. It's a very well done, well thought out, well constructed story that deals with a lot of stuff that just people are afraid to talk about or are afraid to deal with. Like, yes, many of the characters in this film are terrible people, but like just because they're not picture perfect A plus great, like awesome role model people, like that doesn't mean that they're not appealing to a larger mass of people. Like, I've made a lot of mistakes and a lot of bad decisions in my life, and it's cost me a lot of happiness over the last 25 years. American Beauty is about peeling back all of those layers of people who fake their happiness. Like, the movie starts off making you like want to believe that Lester and his wife are this happy, perfect couple. And then as the movie goes on, you peel back and you see just how unhappy these two people are, but they fake it, at least at the start of the movie. And it's kind of the point of the film to just not be fake to who you are and to try to pursue happiness. Granted, I can't support all the ways that all these people like are looking for happiness, but it's kind of just the point of the film. And like in that aspect and concept, I think American Beauty is a very David Lynch like film. When Troy and I were talking about David Lynch movies recently, like we talked about the fact that like a lot of David Lynch movies are about this fake world that you see, and then the characters go on a journey seeing like what the reality of the world is. And I think American Beauty has a lot of that kind of stuff with it. Like you've got this suburban family life on this like regular everyday street in mid-America. And you've got these people that appear to come across as happy-go-lucky people. They're friendly with their neighbors, they're happy with their neighbors, and you just start to learn that it's all fake. And we get to watch their lives spiral out of control and they make bad decisions. And they're just trying to pursue happiness in all this negativity that's going on. And so, like, American Beauty at the time, if you asked me, I'd probably tell you it was my favorite film of 1999. And while I still do really love the movie, I cannot say it's like my favorite film, like longevity, like that to this day I can still tell you that's my favorite film of 1999. Because I'll tell you what, I watch 10 Things I Hate About You once a week. I watch She's All That fairly regularly. I watch American Pie quite often. I watch Cruel Intentions once a month. Like, there are other movies from 1999 that, like, carry on with me that I watch on a regular basis. Like, when I just want to sit down, put something on so that I can kind of space out and just kind of, like, chill and enjoy like not having to focus on something. Like, a lot of these TV shows these days, like you have to hyper focus watch them to be able to catch, what's going on in the plot and what's really going on behind it. Like you and I mean that's all because of Lost. Like Lost created this new narrative storytelling where like when you watch Severance, I can't turn on Severance and then be on my phone. Like I have to watch Severance and catch everything. These films from 1999, I can put them on when I just want to mentally check out, just have some happiness, listen to some great music. American Beauty is still one of my favorite films from this year, but it is definitely something that, I need to be in the mood to watch. But like as far as art of 1999 goes and award-worthy performances of 1999 go, like American Beauty is by far the film that I am happy won all of these awards at the Oscars. It was nominated for 8 different Oscars. It won 5 of them, like I said, including the 4 major categories. Cider House Rules and The Insider both had 7 nominations. I don't think they won very many. Cider House Rules won 2 of them, if I remember right. The Matrix actually won 4 awards. They were all technical awards, but it won Best Editing, Best Sound, Best Sound Effects, and Best Visual Effects. So cool for The Matrix getting some Oscars love. Like, I talked about Haley Joel Osment. He was 11 when he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. It was the second youngest. There was an 8-year-old back in the 70s. I can't remember what movie it was, but there was like an 8-year-old in the Kramer versus Kramer. There was an 8-year-old in the 70s who was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. So Haley Joel Osment was the second youngest ever nominated. Still didn't win. Because of Angelina Jolie's win, she and her father John Voight became the second ever father-daughter duo to both become Academy Award winners. Probably should have looked up who the first father-daughter duo was because I don't know that off the top of my head. So not sure about that. All 5 songs that were nominated for Best Original Song were performed live that night. Probably why the show ended up going over 4 hours. Because I mean, 5 performances, 5 minutes each. You're looking at a half hour easily of just music thrown into this production. Um, Sarah McLachlan and Randy Newman both performed "When She Loved Me" from Toy Story 2. Amy Mann performed "Save Me" from Magnolia, which I love Magnolia, but that's really the only good song on the soundtrack. I think most of the rest of it is all instrumental stuff, but a lot of it is stuff that Amy Mann did for the movie. Gloria Estefan performed music of the heart. Robin Williams performed Blame Canada, and then Phil Collins came out and did "You'll Be in My Heart" from Tarzan, which ended up winning the best original song or yeah, best original song that night. So Fight Club star Ed Norton introduced the In Memoriam segment, which included who was it that year? Jim Varney had just done Toy Story 2 in 1999, and Desmond Llewellyn was Q in a very large number of James Bond films, including The World Is Not Enough, which came out in 1999. So that was two big people that were in movies that I care about from 1999. Patton star George C. Scott was also passed away in 1999. I know him better from the movie The Hustler, and I loved him in Anatomy of a Murderer with Jimmy Stewart. George C. Scott also had his version of A Christmas Carol in the 80s, and in 1997 there was a remake, like a made-for-TV version of 12 Angry Men, which is the original is one of my favorite films. It's cool. I don't have anything against the 97 remake of it. So also included in the in memoriam section was the comedic genius Madeline Kahn. Madeline Kahn, probably for me, best known from Clue, but she did a lot of Mel Brooks movies, so it wouldn't be a surprise if you knew her from Young Frankenstein, or Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles. She was also in a 1994 comedy called Mixed Nuts, which is one of Adam Sandler's first films, and it also stars Steve Martin. That's one that I watch every single Christmas. It's just one of those it's not a great movie, but I still laugh a lot at it. I think it's funny. It's a very dark humor movie, but she unfortunately passed away in 1999. Screenwriter passed away in 1999. He wrote all three of the Godfather films, as well as Superman 1 and 2. Those are really, I think he had a couple of other credits, but like those five things are that's a pretty solid writing career, if you ask me. Um, so that's it. Like that's all of this stuff that I really wanted to talk about for the Academy Awards of 2000, celebrating the films of 1999. You know what though? Let's before I wrap all this up, I'm not going to do a separate episode for this, but let's jump ahead real quick. Let's go to June 3rd of 2000 because on June 3rd of 2000 we got the MTV Movie Awards, and I don't know, I was age appropriate. It was the right time for me. Um, Getting to watch the MTV Movie Awards for all these films that came out in 1999, super cool. I don't remember. I mean, I know I was at my parents' house, so that I was by myself, or my brother might have watched it with me. I can't remember, but um, Sarah Jessica Parker hosted the MTV Movie Awards on June 3rd of 2000. Um, I'm not upset with any of the stuff that won. Like in my super nostalgic mind, and in all those movies that I just talked about that like I go to when I want to like relive and re-enjoy 1999, like probably I think I care more about the winners of the MTV Movie Awards, at this point in my life, like looking nostalgic and whatnot. Um, so like Annette Bening won Best Female Performance, or like won Best Actress at the Oscars. Best Female Performance was Sarah Michelle Gellar for Cruel Intentions. Perfect. I'm fully in supporting of that. She also won Best Kiss for her kiss with Selma Blair, so can't argue that. Not upset about them winning. Best Male Performance or Best Actor. I am sorry, Kevin Spacey, as great as you were, Keanu Reeves actually won this category for The Matrix, as far as the MTV audience cared about. And not only that, Keanu also won the category for Best Fight for his fight with Lawrence Fishburne from The Matrix. So cool. Not upset about either of those things winning. Um, and then, as much as I just rambled and raved about American Beauty, The Matrix won Best Movie, Best Picture, Best whatever they called it at the MTV Movie Awards, and it beat out American Beauty, which is fine. I get that the MTV audience is different from the Academy audience. American Pie was up for this, Austin Powers was up for this, and The Sixth Sense was up for this. So like I like looking at the fact that there's all this crossover back then about what the MTV audience was watching, The Sixth Sense, American Beauty, and then what ended up being in the Oscars. I don't think that's the same at all anymore. Haley Joel Osment did not win Best Supporting Actor, but he won Best Breakthrough Male Performance as far as the MTV audience goes. Cool, support that 100%. And the love of my life, the absolutely beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, absolutely stunning Julia Stiles won the best female breakthrough performance for 10 Things I Hate About You, which top notch, stellar, great movie. Still watch it literally weekly. Like can't get enough of it. And then like Big Adam Sandler won best comedic performance for Big Daddy. So suck it, Razzies. Like the fact that you thought that Adam Sandler deserved a Razzie this year, like come on. Like Big Daddy's amazing. I hate the Razzies for that year of nominations and whatnot, but like okay, so like that's the most important stuff that happened at the MTV Movie Awards in 2000 for films from 1999, and like thanks for just letting me relive that and re-enjoy like the difference between the MTV audience, which I was definitely in, and then the Academy audience, which I longed to be in. Um, Oh, and I hear the music. The music is starting to play me off. I have talked way too long. I have gone beyond what I should be allowed to talk for this segment. So this is it. Like I'm wrapping up. I'm wrapping up. The teleprompter is telling me to wrap up. I'm getting there. Give me a minute. Just let me finish. Let me pull an Adrian Brody real quick. Like I get it. This has been Shane Talks 99. This was episode 61. I had the pleasure of doing 61 episodes that all talked about my absolute favorite year in cinema, and that is 1999. So I thank everyone who listened to any of these episodes, specifically listened to this episode, listened to any of the movies that I talked about in 1999, all the people who encouraged me on this journey from doing it to asking me, about it or talking to me about episodes. I love and appreciate everyone who has like just been a part of this journey with me, giving me this cathartic experience to go back and remember all these absolutely amazing movies and how they affected me and made me who I am today. And from storytelling elements to just how I look at women in relationships and like all these things that I pulled from the year 1999. Thank you for letting me share all these thoughts and feelings. Thank you for being a part of this. 1999, I will always believe, was the greatest year in cinema history. There's been some other great ones. 94, I could do a podcast about 1994. There was a lot of really good stuff that came out that year, too. But 1999, for what it was, I hope you've understood throughout these last 61 episodes, well, the first 59 episodes at least, what I love so much about 1999 and the things that I find so special and valuable about it. It reminded me of being young. It reminded me of what it was like to be 19 and have the whole world ahead of me and how these films affected me emotionally, mentally, psychologically, and just it's been an absolute awesome journey to go back and experience it all over again. Such a happy time in my life back in 1999. So thank you for coming on this journey with me. And for the last time, I am Shane White, and this has been Shane Talks 99. Thank you.